Okay.
All right. Jackie, it's great
Okay.
to have you here today.
Great being here.
Yeah, let's jump right in and really get to the heart of what we're trying to accomplish today. And can you give me an idea of what ultimately had you jump and want to have this conversation with me today? What are some of the challenges or frustrations you're dealing with?
Recently, as I said, it's just like the everyday, like mundane things, I don't know, it's just been so heavy lately, and I've been doing like a lot of stuff all at the same time while I was taking care of my daughter, and then she goes to school, and I also sometimes go to school, like I go to nursing school. So it's just been so, and I don't really get a lot of help like lately. So
For sure.
that's
And you're a
I
single
don't
mom,
know.
correct?
Yeah, I mean, I used to have a nanny, but right now it's COVID time, so I can't hire someone because they have to go through certain, you know, tests.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It's all about safety and things like that. So it sounds like you're working full time. You're going to nursing school as well. Is that correct?
And it's gonna start soon. Yeah, August 23rd, like 3 days from now.
Okay. Wow.
Mhm.
And like you're talking to me. It's 11:30 p.m. where you are, and it's 11:30 a.m. where I am. So um, when do you feel like you have time to sleep during all of this?
Well, honestly, like before, like every day for the past 6 months, for 6 months, it's like I only get 2 to 3 hours of sleep every day, like every day. But right now, like if I don't get 8 hours of sleep, I get really, really, I don't really function well. So I need to, like, as you said, like sleep is imperative, right? So I cannot, I have to get my 8 hours sleep. Otherwise, I'd be,
Totally.
you know,
Totally.
yeah.
So, what do you feel like the number one outcome or goal that you'd like to accomplish today? Like what's the thing that you want? What do you want to achieve?
What do I want to achieve? Just basically just be able to, like, I don't know, like I just really want to be successful. Like I really want to be, like be monetarily successful, be financially stable without, because I'm really scared of going into like a next relationship or anything. I'm not really into that right now because I'm just really focused on my daughter. So yeah, that'd be my main goal. Like finish my nursing school and then eventually get out of the Philippines again and then just move like maybe in the US or the UK. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really at this point in time, you're trying to make these changes for yourself, right? You're running this business and you are trying to go to nursing school and you're doing the things to
Yes.
create this better
I,
life, right? Which is
for
extremely
me,
commendable and unbelievable. And your daughter's super lucky to have you stepping into these roles and doing these things.
I hope
Um,
so.
and there's so many times you take a lot on yourself, right? Like there's a lot of this, like, I need to make this work. I need to make this happen. This has got to work, right? Because a lot of your thoughts probably go to your daughter. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. Like I never, because before I had my daughter, like I never really plan on having or starting a family. Like I said, like I'd be probably getting into like a few relationships, but I'm not really gonna like get married or have a child or, so
Yeah,
I was really had my life planned out. So,
for sure.
I just figured like I'm just gonna be traveling the world. That's it. And then I don't know, like life surprises you. And now that I never really thought the gravity, like of having a child,
Yeah.
that you're like fully responsible for her well-being and all that stuff. So
It changes your perspective instantly. Like,
right.
and it makes your values, your priorities, your standards, everything changes when you have
Yes.
children. I have two children.
Right.
I know instantly it just like things changed, right?
Right.
And so you started to think about this next phase for you and all of these things. So
Mhm.
right now, if we could get you unstuck in one area, what
Mhm.
do you think that would be for you so that you can do these things and move into this success that you're looking for?
Honestly, I just really want to finish school because this is my, I think if once I finish my degree, this is my second degree, okay? The first one is tourism management, but I think this is the only thing that could help me and my daughter, like just get out of here first. Because I plan on to like move to countries, with my job. And then, yeah, just eventually, like build a life for me and her. That's it.
For sure. So is there anything stopping you from getting into this nursing degree and doing all of these things? Is there anything stopping you from doing that?
Oh, no, no, not really. It's just that sometimes, like, I think it's taking a toll on my health. Sometimes I feel so fatigued or something. I'm just so, I've never been so, I'm not really sleep deprived or anything because my daughter, like lately, I've never been so sleep deprived because like my daughter is like, she's really like an easy daughter, like she's just,
Awesome.
you know, so I'm just lucky to have her and she's really smart. She's extremely smart.
How old is
And
she?
she's 3 years old.
I have a 3-year-old as well. It is
Oh, really? Yeah,
it's
March 8th, 2018. She's
March
supposed,
March 4th,
oh, my daughter was
2018.
supposed to be born on March 4th, but she was
Wow.
delayed. She was delayed for 4 days, my doctor said.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
It's super interesting. I love that stuff. So yeah, and but even with a easy child,
Hmm.
the
I
she's
still
3,
feel.
right? She's still 3, and it's still a lot.
Mhm.
So it sounds like the biggest thing today is to have some more clarity around feeling less fatigued, feeling
Yeah.
do you feel like the it
I
sounds like
think getting more support, like getting more support in terms of like someone, like I have a best friend, but she lives in Dubai. So our time doesn't really coincide like most of the time, but we used to talk a lot. But right now, like we don't really talk a lot nowadays. So
so
sometimes I can confide in her, and that's it. Like
do
I
you
feel like if I can have someone um that I can talk my problems to, then it's just gonna take the weight, off my chest or something. That's it.
kind of like what we're doing today. And the other side of that though too is well, this is my question for you. Do you find that when you talk stuff out, you feel better or and it solves the problem, or do you just feel better?
I just I feel better, like I really feel better.
So do you feel like part of this is um you're missing connection? Like you're missing and I've worked with so many people over the past year and a half
Mhm.
from a therapeutic standpoint
Mhm.
around the fact that they're missing connection because that's what COVID did. It like
Mhm.
it disconnected us in a really difficult way. So
Right.
for you, do you feel like that you're missing those connections with those people that allowed you to have that human to human connection that made you feel better and less overwhelmed, less stressed, less
Yes.
fatigued?
Yes, it did. It did.
Okay.
That's why I listen to a lot of like Gabor Mate. Like he's really good. He's from Canada, but you should listen to him. He's like, oh my God. He's like I don't know, like a modern shaman or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so what does he do for you that you want to have in your in your internal self each and every
Yeah.
day?
Yeah.
Like what do you feel like because you want less fatigue is what it sounds like, right?
Yeah. Manifestation. Yeah.
Okay. And the fatigue sounds like it's more mental than physical fatigue. Is that true?
Right. Yes. And what he said was like, it's really connected, like no matter what. It's really connected. The mind and the body is really connected. So whatever you're feeling, it's gonna manifest all through the body. Like if you're really like mentally
Totally.
overloaded, it's gonna manifest. Like in the term like in illness or anything, pain, chronic pain or whatever. That's
Yep.
what it.
Totally. So and I 100% agree with that. Every single part of my gut health issues and I had horrible adrenal fatigue. Like
Uh-huh.
everything was like, I had trouble getting out of bed. I would sleep full nights and not even feel like I slept at all. Like I can totally relate with that. And it's kind of like in your mind, you're like, how do I get out of this? Like, how do I get out of this cycle? So my next question for you is like, what do you do now from a stress reduction standpoint that would actually that really helps you feel better? Because like you said, talking it out is one way you actually
Yeah,
feel better
talking.
after, right? That's one example of stress reduction for you. So that's
Yeah,
one thing on your list,
right.
right?
And
So
then
what is something else that you've done or have thought about doing that you think could benefit you so that you're not feeling so fatigued, overwhelmed, and stressed out?
well, I actually do like read a lot of self-help books if I get the time. And also, yeah, listen to a lot of Gabor Mate or, it's really good. And what else? Yeah,
And
I just really just want to finish nursing,
yeah.
so I can just, that's my
Well,
main
yeah. And let me ask you, what will that do for you? Like, what would it mean to you to finish nursing? Like, what's the feeling that you would
feeling.
get? Yeah. Like, what's the feeling that you're trying to have, that future feeling that you're trying to have?
Well, it's gonna make me fulfilled and it's gonna, help me like tremendously,
So
in
you're going to
terms of
feel,
like migration, moving to another country, there's a lot of nurses that they need right now. So
yep. So it's going to help you feel more fulfilled. So you're going to be living within your
fulfill.
purpose, which is wonderful.
Mhm.
You're going to be able to move to another country. And how does that what's the feeling that you get and the thoughts that you get when you get into the idea of that? Like, because it's the idea of what that is, right?
Yes, like it's total bliss, I think, like
Bliss, right?
happiness.
Yep.
Like if every time I have a goal and then I sort of like get it, like it makes me want, like do more and more and the thing is I never really get satisfied. That's
Well,
the
so
thing.
that's where we're going.
Yeah.
So that's where
So
we're going.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
my question around all of that is, if you do these things
Mhm.
and you're doing and doing and doing and trying to have, but it's never actually satisfying in the long term, right? It's
Mhm.
just another thing.
It's just another
Do
thing.
you think that will actually change when you complete this nursing school, and you just do more? I know because it didn't do that for me. So I'm just wondering, do you feel like it may end up just being the same deal?
Well, it could have like before, but now that I have a child, like I have, like I feel like I have more direction now,
For sure.
because I need to. Like I don't have a choice. I have to build something for my daughter. She depends on me.
For sure.
So
And
I,
that's your drive, that's your motivation. So
yes,
so
totally.
when we think about your drive and motivation, that's not what we're worried about. That's there, right? Like
Mhm.
that's intact.
It's yeah,
And
yeah.
that's tied into your why, like why you want something, why you want to do this, right? And your other why, what I caught from you is that my why is to feel more fulfilled, to
Yeah,
move to this other country, to feel this bliss and happiness. Now,
right.
why can't you feel that way now?
To be honest, I think I live in a place where it's, like because I live with my mom right now. And then it's so hard to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, okay? She's totally narcissistic, okay? She's a narcissist, and I barely even talk to her because when I talk to her, I feel like she's gonna drain me out. And
So
the fact that I'm living in the same place with her, is what keeps me, I think, more drained out. So
Yes,
that's the point, I think.
for sure.
I blurted it out. So
Yeah. So
there.
that's the root right there,
I
Jackie.
think yes, most
Yeah.
definitely.
So do you see how it's like all of this stuff comes to this level,
Boils, yes,
right?
to
Where
one.
your energy and your vibration and all of these things are
Right.
being depleted by
Mhm.
narcissists,
That's-
I call it like energy vampires, right?
oh, yeah,
They
yeah, energy vampires, yeah.
right, they're taking your energy and they're
Mhm.
taking it away from you. Um,
Mhm.
and that absolutely can feel draining, 100%,
Really.
right?
Because when I live in other countries, I feel like, I accomplish a lot more. You know what I mean? Like I I don't know. It's just that, you know, I had no choice. My daughter was born in Malaysia, so I was supposed to give birth in the US, but then I didn't push through. So she was born in Malaysia, and yeah, like I seem to yeah, because her father is some sort of like he's like a narcissistic too. He's a bit narcissistic, so I never really knew anything about this what they call this traits until recently. So it's
But you're aware
mind
of it
blowing.
now, and awareness is the first key piece of this puzzle.
Yes,
And
thanks to
I've
the internet.
yeah, like I've worked with a lot of people
Mhm.
in rapid transformation therapy, and we've gone through um, narcissists can really create a huge impact on you. And it's interesting what I've found when I work with people that are dealing with a narcissist, they've had other narcissists in their lives. So
Yes,
they kind of like from a
they seem to
subconscious level,
attract. They seem
yeah,
to
they've kind of
attract a
like
lot
they
of
repeat the pattern too. Like, so
people.
it's like if your mom's that way, it may have been like familiar for you to go and connect with another person that has the similar traits. Does that make
That's why
sense?
I don't, right. That's why I'm really scared of talking to a lot of people right now. Like I don't really,
Sure. Well,
I'm
because
such a
you're
loner right now. Like,
well, what are you afraid of?
I don't know, like because I'm afraid of, attracting another or, being acquainted with another narcissistic person. So, I
Now
can't.
that you're aware of it, though, now that you're aware of
Mm.
these tendencies and these behaviors, do you feel like you would be more open and be able to see it quicker?
Um, no, because narcissistic people are charismatic,
Many
not only
times,
they're,
for sure.
yeah, and they live in they're like a chameleon. They
Yep.
can just,
Yep.
you won't really know until it's like either late, unless you're really good,
For sure. For sure.
so
So
they're
besides that, so that we can absolutely address at a later time if you'd like to,
Mhm.
because that's something we can totally work on and work through. That's going to be something because the fear of that right now is
Mhm.
blocking you from creating other relationships. And then when we think about one of the things that you absolutely love that's making you feel more overwhelmed and stressed out is the fact that you're not having more connections with people,
Right.
right? So do you see how this is full circle here?
Right.
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 So
Good
that's,
job.
yeah, that's where, well, you're doing all of the work. I'm just asking you questions. You're doing great. And it's like, this is, this is the type of thing that it's so common. Like, this is so common because we get stuck in that cycle, right? And then the fear of having more of what you don't want,
Mhm.
it's it's paralyzed. Like it stops you. So a lot of times going in subconsciously is the best way to learn more about it and break through that fear so that you can have that deeper connection with people. um, but for the time being, let's talk about some things that you can do right now that can really help you within this in this challenge that you're dealing with. So number one is definitely limiting time with people that are demonstrating those tendencies, right?
Right.
So like you said, you don't talk to your mother as much. Is that true?
Right. And also I feel like every day I like I don't know in this place like it's always like there's really not enough time to do things, like um when I wake up and then it's just not enough time. I think I don't know, not enough time to do so many things, which that's what
So
keeps yeah.
yeah, so uh
That's why I do by project work. I don't really, because it's yeah, it's less stressful.
yeah, so what makes you feel like you don't have enough time?
I don't know, because when I wake up, when I wake up, I would only like have well, like 30 minutes to 1 hour to myself, and then my daughter wakes up, and then of course I have to attend to her, and then she goes to school in the morning, and then after that, then that's why every day, like for the past 6 months, my mom's cooking for us, okay, but I sometimes I don't really like her cooking, so most of the time like I would order online,
Yep.
online, and it's just not really healthy, because every day it's just like you know
Sure.
just
So
things
do
I
you
don't
feel
everything is just so hard in the Philippines. I think I feel, like I feel like I was born in the wrong country, you know and I don't know, it's just everything's just so hard here.
so the belief that you have is that it's hard to live in the Philippines. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. So that belief can lead to these other stories around all of this other stuff that makes it harder, right? So, because anytime we have a belief around something like that, it just starts to show up in all of these other areas, right? So if it's hard to live there, then being productive there and doing these things makes it harder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Living, living with your mom who's has narcissistic tendencies is harder, right? Being like, raising your daughter is harder, right? Like all of these
No,
things,
it's okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's becoming harder because of this overriding belief that it's hard
Right.
to live here, right?
It really clouds my judgment. Like I've always been like an optimistic person, but I don't know. It's just kind of draining lately. That's why, like right now, I really feel that something has been lifted off my chest because I was able to talk it out.
Yeah.
Like so, it's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. No, my pleasure. I'm glad that we can kind of like see this and understand
Mhm.
kind of like the cycle. So I want to go back to kind of like productivity, right? So do you feel like you're doing a lot during the day and actually accomplishing and achieving goals, or do you just feel like just you're just busy all the time?
I actually love being busy, but like I know I'm being productive. It's just that there's just not enough time. Like every day, like I would get, of course, in the evening, I would get sleepy. I have to sleep.
You have to
And
sleep.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
number one. I'm going to stop you
yeah.
there. Like you have to sleep. And
Mhm.
and anybody that tells you that you have to grind and you have to hustle and you got to go on no sleep, like that is the number one way to burn yourself out. Absolutely. So like sleep is the most rejuvenative thing ever from a recovery standpoint. So sleeping is a non-negotiable, and I have a lot of really great sleep hypnosis that I can share with you that will help to optimize those as well. But then the second piece is looking at your day, right? You're going off of a kind of a to-do list, is what it sounds like. Is that true?
Right.
And do you feel like if you don't get it all done, that you're not achieving what you want to achieve?
Yes, because I really want to do more and more and more. It's just that sometimes I really don't because,
So this is
of
what you
course.
need to do.
Mhm.
Yes, Jackie. This is so important because everyone feels like you, right? They have all of these things on their to-do list. And think about it. There's probably things on your to-do list that have been there for months that you're just
Mhm.
not doing. So I find to-do lists can be unproductive for a lot of people because there's so many things and they're like, if I don't get this done, then I'm not good enough and I'm not able to, achieve all of this. And, I'm not this super mom. I feel like I talk with moms all the time and they feel like they have to be this super mom. And it's just the most deflating, worst thing. Like you are a super mom.
That's why
Don't
I
ever
really
question.
admire, like hands down, I really admire mothers
Yeah,
because
they're
the
amazing.
tasks every day. Yeah.
Everything. So this is a way that's going to help you create a better to-do list and be more productive. Okay.
Yeah.
So number one, you're going to figure out what do you want, right? Because if you're building your list based off of what you want rather than like things you think you need to do, like once you figure out what you want, then you can figure out the best ultimate way to achieve that thing, right? And it may actually take some things off of your to-do list. Like a lot of people, they feel like they have to do all of these things, but some of the things are busy work, and some of the things we can even outsource, which we could get into that. But the way that we could think about it is, I like people to just think of 3 things they're trying to accomplish in the day, just 3, right? Because if you accomplish those and you actually get them done, because a lot of people are doing a lot of different things, not completing anything, and then they feel like I need to do more. But if you can even knock out 2 out of the 3 things of the top 3 things that you need to do that day, it's going to have such a big impact on your feeling of like, I accomplished this, right? And doesn't that sound much more manageable?
Yes, it does. But tomorrow is I have a lighter workload because it's Saturday. So yeah, my daughter don't have she doesn't have class tomorrow.
So there's
Yeah.
the thought that I have to be there for her and I have to do this as well. Is that true?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And her class is like 1.5 hour, like English and Chinese.
Yep.
And then she what do you call this? Of course I had to be there for her, like
For sure.
in her class.
For sure. But tomorrow she doesn't have that, is what it sounds like.
Saturday and Sunday, no.
Okay. So then there's going to be times where you're going to build in so is there times where she does, like, can she play on her own for a certain period of time?
Of course she does.
She can.
I just bought her birds, like 2 birds, like earlier.
That's awesome. So not all 3-year-olds can, but if she can, that's wonderful, because then you can block chunk your days, like on Saturdays and Sundays when she doesn't have school. And you can kind of like, and just, I'm assuming she naps still, does she?
Not in the afternoon recently, no.
Okay, that's always.
Because the thing is, I feel like I have to always entertain her. That's why I feel like she needs a sister, so that they could be, but yeah.
So you don't, children do absolutely love connection, right? Yes. So my best advice to give you is that when you're connecting with her, be all there with her, right? Like what I had to start doing for myself is literally turning my phone off and like being 100% connected. So creating those blocks for her is going to be really, really big. And she's going to feel that too. She's going to be like, mommy's with me at all times, right? At this moment in time. And then, like you said, there are blocks where she can be on her own and she can do those things. And it's okay to set those boundaries. Like, we're going to do this, but it's the communication with her too. It's saying, hey, I'm going to do this for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, right? With 3-year-olds, it's probably more 30-minute chunks, right? But I'm going to do this for 30 minutes and then we can blank, whatever it is, right? And you can move into that and you can start doing those things with her and being fully in there. And then you're moving into another block, right? And then it just creates more of that dynamic that you are able to do this, but also, because what's happening there, it sounds like there's mom guilt. Is that true?
Yes, mom guilt.
Totally. So
like I have to be, I feel like I have to entertain her.
Yep. Isn't it? That's exhausting though, correct? Yeah. And it's
Right.
like, it's not helpful because there is part of you that you do need to do this work, right? It is part of the growth process, right? And you can do both, right? And you're demonstrating for your daughter that when you're with her, you're with her. And you're also demonstrating that when you're doing work, like mommy is doing stuff. She's getting stuff done like that. That's pretty empowering to see. For her, through her eyes, she's going to be seeing my mom, pretty much raised me on her own and is a go-getter, and she got her nursing degree, and she did all of these things to make it happen. And kids are always watching. They're always watching. So to understand, like, she's never going to, the things that you're feeling worried about or guilty about, she doesn't see it like that. She just knows you're the love of her life, and that, like, you're her hero, like you're that person, right? And a lot of times moms get in their own head. We all get in our own head, but I work with mostly moms, and it's like,
Really?
yeah,
Excuse
we're
me.
getting in our minds about what our kids are thinking about us, right?
Right.
When if I just met your daughter, and me and your daughter were talking side by side, and I said, what do you think of, like, what's your, like, tell me about mommy, she would only tell me these awesome things about you, right? That's just what
Oh
she
yeah, one more. She's like, pressure me. Where's daddy? Where's daddy?
For sure. And that's a whole different beast.
Oh yeah, again,
We
I
can
was
get
like,
into
come
that at
on.
another time, for sure. But the thing is, she knows that you are the constant, right?
Yes, I
And
am.
it's okay to do work and then be with her and do work. It just changes the way that you have to do things. So it sounds like for you right now, if I were to put three things to help you with this particular thing that we're talking about today. Number one is establishing connection. Number one is establishing connection. So whoever it is, right? Friend, family, somebody, right? Finding somebody that's a connection partner, because there's tons of people out there that want the same thing as you. They just feel disconnected, and one of your deep emotional subconscious needs is connection. And that's a lot of what's making you feel overwhelmed and like you need more support and help. And it sounds like, and tell me if I'm wrong, it sounds like the emotional support is really what you're craving. Is that true?
Emotional support. Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, it would be great to have help and things like that, right? And, like you said, when you had a nanny, it was very helpful. Hopefully that can change as, the COVID starts to get a little bit better.
Yes.
But for the first piece of this puzzle, it's 100% about being able to connect and go through this stuff.
Right. Yes.
Right. So that's your number one. Your number two is sleep and recovery. Okay.
Yes.
Sleep and recovery. So recovery is all about, like, you can do this every hour as well. And it's something as simple as just deep breathing. What deep breathing does is it sends a signal to your central nervous system that you are calm, even when you might not actually be, right? So I tell people to deep breathe before they eat so that their digestion is going to be optimized, right? And because we have trouble digesting when we're stressed, right? So it's this deep breathing. And my favorite is just keeping it simple. There's so many different ones out there, right? But I just like the 5-5-5. So it's breathing in 5 seconds. Hold. Breathe out.
Okay.
And I do that 5 times.
Okay.
Just about 3 times a day. Right. And it's just starting. And it's interesting when you first try to add that in, you're not going to remember to do it. You're going to go back to your old pattern. So what I tell people to do is, like, set a timer on your phone or whatever, just to make it so that you don't have a choice. You have to breathe.
Yes.
Like, you got to breathe, right? So the sleeping and breathing are going to bring those the cortisol, which is your stress hormone.
Cortisol, yes.
Yeah, so we're going to be bringing that down, right? Like that's one of the biggest parts of this, right? Getting up from your work, taking a walk, doing those things, even if it's for 1 to 2 minutes, getting a glass of water, all those things are going to be really beneficial for you. So it's really the basics, right? Sleeping and breathing and things like that that we take for granted. But when we do it in this conscious way that we're focusing on it, I mean, really all meditation starts at its core level from the breath, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
So I found that for me, like I was trying to work so hard and force meditation when what I really needed to do is just start really consciously breathing. And that was how I started. And it made a huge difference on my adrenals and just reducing that fatigue, which is what is going to really help you. So you're going to reduce the fatigue from connecting with people. You're going to reduce the fatigue by, because that's going to meet an emotional need. You're going to reduce the fatigue by breathing and getting good quality rest. And then the last one is reduce the fatigue by not adding so much on your plate, right? And
Adding so much.
yeah, and it's chunking it down into 3 main things. Like what are the most important, as well as the things that are going to move the needle for you the most, the things that are going to get you the biggest results. That's what you want to focus on. So many of us focus on the busy work, things like that, where it's what do I need to do today? And if you need to at the beginning, it's just like, what's the one thing at the end of the day that I can say, I did this and it got done. And now, because now you're starting to, I call it stacking wins. You're going to be stacking wins over and over again, right? And then when you start focusing on your wins, rather than all of the things you didn't do that day, right? You're going to feel better because you're going to, right now, you're trying to do more and more and more, but it's never meeting your need. You need to look at how freaking awesome you are, Jackie, and how much you're getting done and how much you're doing for yourself, for your daughter to create this better life. Like you're doing these things. It's just paying attention to them. The awareness of those wins that you're stacking every single day. You're doing all this awesome stuff. And we could talk about gratitude and all these things. Like we could go so many ways with this call, but it's really, I like people to walk away with 1 to 3 things that they can actually go take action on. So one thing that you can do, you can think of one person that you can connect with every other day, right?
Yeah. We actually, like me and my best friend, we used to talk like a lot, like most of the time, like 6 to 8 to 12 hours a day, especially on Saturday, you know, like.
And you're missing that, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So you got to bring it back. So that's a non-negotiable for you, right? So it's bringing that back, even if it's a smaller time. You don't need to talk for that long, but it's just it's knowing you got each other, right? You're interconnected with another human spirit. So that's number 1. Number 2, the action and the thing that you're gonna lock into is the sleep and recovery aspect. So the breathing and the sleeping, the things like that, right? So those are non-negotiables, especially if we're trying to reduce fatigue, right? And overwhelm. And then number 3 is chunking down into making it very clear what you need to do and have those 3 big rocks that you're trying to accomplish in the day. If you get 1 out of the 3 done, that is a win. We're not thinking, the biggest thing is you don't think, oh, I didn't do the other 2. It's you got this done. You're 1 step closer, right? And then every day you're just taking another step. You're taking another step rather than thinking of all the steps you need to do, because that's overwhelming, right? But it's 1 step each and every day. When I'm working with people to get them out of overwhelm, anxiety, frustration, depression, all these things, it's like little wins throughout the day. Jackie, did you get dressed today? You did. That's a win. Okay. You got out of bed today, right? That's a win. You got your daughter to school today. That's a win, right? You took a shower. That's a win, right? Like we could go through all of these amazing wins that you take for granted that you are absolutely doing an unbelievable job with. And you need to always come back to that, because that's the stuff, Jackie. That's the stuff that you're doing it. Okay. And you're going to have all of these other things, but that's not going to necessarily give you that feeling that you can have right now. You can have the feeling of, I'm doing amazing. You know, I might not be where I want to be, and I am where I'm at right now, and I can still be grateful, and I can still be proud of myself, and I can still feel that bliss and that happiness, even in this moment right now. And it's breathing and feeling that gratitude and loving that your heart is beating each and every day.
Yes. Thank you so much, Matt.
You got this. You got this. And I appreciate this. And this is big. So the three things: reminder, connection, recovery, and your three big to-dos in the day.
Yeah. Three big to-dos. Thank you so much. I never really thought about that, the three chunks.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's,
you know, like I feel like I was just trying to do so many things all at the same time.
Totally.
And it's just, you know.
And you have extra things on your list too that never get done. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't get that done. What's wrong with me? Right? It's just too much for your mind, right? Humans, we can do three things, right? We can do 1 to 3 things a day. And one of those things is usually, like for me, on my to-do list, it's to show up consciously and aware for my children and my wife. Like that's what it is. And it's like, if you do that, right, all this other stuff is going to come. I have no doubt. Like you're going to get that done, right? Because you're motivated to determine you're going to do these things. And these moments right now where you show up consciously for your daughter is priceless.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. I feel like, yeah.
Keep being awesome.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Awesome.
Thank you so much. And what do you call this? Are you gonna do your podcast? Do you need people to come to your?
Yeah, we're figuring it all out right now, and I'm gonna stop and